Hey everybody, a little session today on indoor practice. So those of you that are stuck up north, looking to work on your game a little bit, hopefully this one helps you.
This is the Golf Essentials Podcast with Casey Bork.
So this episode is for my northern friends who are stuck indoors and are dreaming about green fairways and cool breezes and wearing shorts and stuff. But there's 2 feet of snow outside and you got nothing better to do. So I want to give you some things that you can do at home to stay a little bit sharp. And in principle, it's not about investing a bunch of time. You know, you'll drive yourself crazy if you're really investing a lot of time. But it's really, really helpful if you could set aside even just 5 or 10 minutes an evening or while you're watching TV to do a couple of these things. And I'm going to give you 3 things that I used to do when I grew up in Maine. I was a high school player and I was super into golf. I played hockey. That kept me busy, but I was just, tearing my hair out, waiting for the spring to come around. And so the first thing that I did every single night when our family was watching TV and they were all sitting on the couch and I was driving them crazy, but really simple. I set up a little putting area, and we had a good carpet downstairs where we watched TV, and it was a good fast carpet where it rolled really true. So hopefully you got access to something like that. And I putted a bunch of balls over a dime. So I set it up about 4 feet away, and I laid a little alignment stick on the ground so I knew I got my alignment, my setup just right every time. And I got my club face dead square, and I would make my stroke and I would hear the ball click the dime. And really interesting because a dime is actually really hard to hit. A quarter is actually harder to hit than a golf tee that's standing on end. But a dime is really hard to hit from 4 or 5 feet away. You gotta really be precise. And what I would do is I'd put a pillow behind the dime. Actually, I'd put a pillow off to the side, but I had a big book behind the dime. And so the book would be at a 45-degree angle. So the ball would roll over the dime, hit the book at a 45-degree angle, and then kick off to the side into the pillow. And I'd have 7 or 8 balls, and they'd all accumulate there. And then I'd pull them back and I'd get my reps in that way. And really just a few minutes each night goes a long, long way. Because if you think about it, over the course of the winter, you're not only working on your alignment and your setup and settling in over the ball, you're going to build some confidence. So that's a really good thing. And you're going to work on all those things that happen before you actually make the stroke. You're not just working on the stroke, You're working on setting up the same way every single time, dead square. You got an alignment aid there, and so that's taken care of. And a really, really cool thing to do. If you're going to do any of this stuff, that's the one I would recommend. And I specifically remember my senior year I was a baseball player, and my senior year, some of my buddies back home were upset because I was decent at baseball. I wasn't that great, but I played on the team. I was a shortstop and a pitcher, and I didn't play my senior year, and because I was so into golf. And I remember after that winter of just putting and putting and putting all winter, I came out of the starting blocks in the spring just making everything I looked at. I had so much confidence. And that spring I won the state amateur when I was 18 as a senior in high school. So I can speak to how that works, and just investing a little bit of time goes a long, long way. So the other thing that I might suggest is a little bit of chipping work and just basic chip shots. If you have just an 8-iron or 9-iron, something like that, set up some couch cushions so you're not breaking anything. And you can just hit chip shots one after another. Again, you can lay down an alignment stick, but every so many shots, so every 5 or 10 shots, I like to do the coin drill. And the coin drill it's on my website, and it's basically you put the ball down and you put a penny or whatever coins you got. You need 2 coins, and you put one maybe 3 inches behind the ball and one 3 inches ahead of the ball. So the ball's sitting in between, and the coins are on your target line. And the idea is that people who struggle with their chipping normally will hit the back coin, hit the ball, and then miss the forward coin. So their club is sort of bottoming out behind the ball, or they're sweeping the ball, or they're hitting all 3, right? The goal is to miss that first coin. So you're coming on a slight descending angle of attack. So you're missing that first coin, striking the ball, and then your follow through, the club is bottoming out after impact, and it sweeps that second coin. And that just gives you a little feedback, lets you know that you're doing it correctly. So I used to set up couch cushions, real soft pillows or whatever, and just chip shots and hit them into the pillow while I was watching TV. And that was really helpful too, because you just get comfortable set up over the ball. You get used to making that crisp contact. And if you're struggling with that contact, don't do it every time because you're going to be chasing coins all night. But doing that coin drill is a really cool idea, and that should keep you busy too. But I would dedicate more time to putting than the chipping thing. But your strengths and weaknesses better than I do, and those are 2 good drills. As for full swing, it's really hard. If you have a place like a hitting bay or something in your garage or at a buddy's place, setting up a net and just hitting some shots, that's always really good to just keep the muscles loose and keeping the golf muscles strengthened through the winter. I used to do a lot of that too. When I got out of school, I'd go over to my buddy's barn and whack balls by myself, and I just liked it, It sounds crazy to just smack balls into a net all day, but I just liked it a lot. And so if you can do that, that's great. The next best thing would be just to do some sort of rehearsal swings in front of a full-length mirror. You'd be surprised how far that goes to sort of just double check your setup. Make sure that where you think you're standing and how you think you're standing is in fact how you're standing. And walk through in super slow motion all of the positions of the golf swing and try to feel where you tend to go and where that you should go based on what you've seen in pictures and what you see the guys on TV doing. And just a little bit of rehearsing the golf swing may help you feel sort of where that club is most balanced in your backswing and in your follow through. And not saying making full hard swings, more getting a sense of where the club should be going and how your body should be reacting, and doing that in slow motion. It's sort of a good time to reflect on that in the wintertime because you're not so preoccupied with results and where the ball's going and how low you're shooting and stuff. But to take it a step further, I would focus heavily on the bottom half of your swing, meaning from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock if you think of a clock face, right? So at the 9 o'clock position, the club, the shaft of the club should be parallel to your toes, right? It shouldn't be inside or outside. It should be parallel to your toes. And then as you swing through, you strike the ball, and then the follow through, the club is a mirror image of that 9 o'clock position. So from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, if the shaft of the club is parallel to your toes in each of those positions, that's a really, really good thing because your club is on plane, and that's the position that we want the club to travel through when we're making our full swings. And if you're able to do that, if you're ever able to be close to those positions when you're going at full speed, it's really, really cool because those are the positions that allow you to change speeds, right? So a lot of people say, "Oh, I just went at it too hard," or "I need to slow down my swing to hit it straight." That's bullshit. You need to fix your swing to hit it straight, and then you can swing as hard as you want. So if you're hitting that 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position, feel where those are and where the club should be traveling, and just do that every few nights or whatever, and you'll start to feel it. And when you get out, when the snow melts, you're going to be much better off. And so those three things, the putting is probably going to be the biggest win for you. I think anybody that can work on their putting in an environment where it's perfectly controlled and you're setting up the same way every time and you're not so preoccupied with the result, that's a really, really good thing. Your chipping is a good chance to make just some simple chips. Get really good at the easy shots, right? If you can execute the ones that you're supposed to execute, your scores are going to come down. And then with the full swing, if you can hit the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock positions, that's going to allow you to be a lot more consistent with your full swing. And looking at yourself in a full-length mirror, I think you're going to really learn. You're going to be able to see what's going on and understand what's going on just a little bit more versus what you're feeling, because sometimes what we're feeling isn't what's actually happening. So really good time in the winter to do all that stuff. I think it's really, really helpful. I hope it helps you guys out a lot. And reach out to me on social or wherever, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. This one is courtesy of Jim Dom, somebody on Facebook that started following me, and he reached out with a couple suggestions. And Jim, I hope this really helps you, my friend. And let me know if there's anything else, guys. Talk to you soon. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the Golf Essentials podcast, it'd be super cool if you did. If you really like the stuff, please share it with your buddies. I would really, really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.